All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the second episode of the FOMO DOJO. And with me is my good friend Shaz. He is a crypto investor, crypto billionaire. Okay. And
I
also,
wish.
and
You,
is also from the Cryptocurrency Malaysia Facebook page, one of the most active communities in Malaysia when it comes to cryptocurrency. Hi, Shaz.
hey man, I just want to say that usually it's the one that says the other guy is the billionaire. That's the one who's holding all the money. Usually
Right.
that's the case.
Sure. Okay, so
Point that out.
yeah. So I've got a lot of interesting things planned out for this podcast series. We're going to move to a actual physical location so we can have face-to-face conversations. And next few weeks, I've lined up some interesting guests to not only talk to me about all things crypto, but also to educate me and the viewers out there lah. Okay, and already my my cousin has commented, and then he deleted his comment. He said, "You rich bastards." Okay, sorry, Akwang.
I
I
wish.
caught it. Okay, I caught it. So, please tell all your friends about this podcast. We're gonna talk about all things crypto. And if you in the comment section, feel free to just comment. Let us know how you feel. Any questions? Because Shaz and I will take questions at the end if there's enough questions lah. And try not to be an asshole in the comment section. Okay, so. Shaz, so
Yes.
ironically, last week, our first episode was about how Bitcoin smashed its all time high to reach 50,000 US dollars, right?
Right.
And it is a testament to the insanity of the crypto world where we went through a roller coaster of a week, and then the past 2 days, the Bitcoin price crashed
Yeah.
to 45,000, and then now it's back up to 50,000. It's like
Right.
where we started a week ago, but it
Yes.
feels like a year has passed.
Yes. That's how the crypto world works. And
So,
I think actually in the last week when we were talking, I was saying it's very unusual that when it hits a psychological level, it doesn't just rip right through it. Usually, if it rips right through this level, it means that it will actually retrace. I think we were talking about that last week.
I think what Shah is trying to say is he's like an oracle. Okay, he called it.
Yeah, exactly. I called it.
Yeah, we were talking about it in private, and you said that it's either it shoots all the way up or it shoots
Yeah,
all the way down. And this time, it felt like it was hovering, and then it shot all the way
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
So
for these psychological levels, that's how it tends to be.
right. And today's episode, the meat of today's episode, I want to talk about how we, okay, so Shaz and I, we've been through, I think, two or three, I think two. I've been two major crashes. You've been through how many? Through how many? Three, yeah.
Major crashes. I'm
2013.
about 2013. No, I wasn't. I was involved in 2015, so about a year
Yeah,
before you. So
so that means,
about the
yeah.
same.
So we experienced the 2017 crash.
Yeah,
And then the pandemic crash. Okay, so
yeah.
and in between there were a lot of there were a lot of
Other
mini
crashes.
dips and crashes and mini apocalypse. So we're gonna talk about how how to survive the crash. Okay, and I don't
Right,
mean survive as in keeping your money, but survive mentally. Right.
right.
But first, whenever there's this major crash, it's always very fun to speculate
Right.
on what happened, why did the crash happen. And of course, there were a lot of news, probably all formed into a major tsunami that caused the price to crash. But what do you think caused the Bitcoin price to crash so much? 13,000 in a matter of days.
Okay, so word on the street, it was F2 pool actually. It was the mining pool, F2 pool. Apparently, they dumped a bunch of Bitcoin on the market, shorted it, and then dumped a bunch of Bitcoin on the market, rode the short, and then apparently they were still dumping coins to try to suppress the price. And then I guess they got out of their shorts when they ran out of Bitcoin. So
Okay, can you
it's probably
explain this in slower storytelling terms? Because
okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So what happens is that how do you get new bitcoins? It's from mining, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people that get new bitcoins are called miners, and they form mining pools. So one of the big mining pools is called the F2 pool. Okay. So they get a bunch of new bitcoin that they get from mining bitcoin, and they're just holding it. And up to a certain point, when they've got like about 8,000 bitcoin, it's actually profitable for them to go to an exchange, short it, open up a large short, maybe at like 50x or maybe even higher. That means that they borrow money on leverage, short the price of Bitcoin, and then immediately dump 8,000 Bitcoin onto the market.
Jesus.
So when 8,000 Bitcoin gets dumped on the market, it will cause the price to crash, and then more people will start to panic sell, and it will just cause the price to drop. And all this while they've actually borrowed on leverage to short the market, and they've made money from this leverage. Once it hits to a certain point and they can't suppress the price anymore, they get out of their short, take all the profits from there, rebuy the Bitcoin, start again.
Right. So how much money you think F2 Pool made?
It's hard to say, but 8,000 Bitcoin or 6,000 Bitcoin, I think, at about 50 something thousand.
That's about
sounds like it's a lot.
300, that's 3 billion, right? Isn't it? No, wait, hold on.
I don't know. My math is a little.
No, 6,000 is it? 6,000 Bitcoins, right?
6,000 Bitcoin, yeah.
Wow, that's like 300 million, yeah. 300 million US dollars, right? Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
shit. Whew.
Yeah. And
My
then
God.
not including whatever short position that they took. So that's the word on the street based on people's analysis on who actually dumped so much Bitcoin. But actually, it probably would have dumped anyway because most wallets were already because how it works is that when you go long on Bitcoin, right, especially if you're on leverage, after a certain point, if you're in profit, when most people are in profit, you need to take profit because you can't just be riding the wave. You need to take profit at some point, right? Especially if you're an institution. So when most wallets are already in profit, everybody will then close their long position. And that's why the Bitcoin chart always works in waves, right? It's never like a straight line. So I always find it funny when people are wondering, like, why did the Bitcoin price drop? Well, charts always move in waves. They never move in one direction, just constantly just keep going up, right? But we can see that the buyback was pretty quick. So I'm guessing this is the end of the retracement. This is not financial advice. But yes, I'm guessing this is the end of the retracement.
No, it's okay to say this is it's the paranoia I said, right? Even when you're not giving advice, you tell it's not advice. It's just observation, right? Okay.
Observation, yes.
So you have said a lot of very interesting things. Okay. And what I take. Okay. Now my first question, the most important question is this shows that a small group of people can sort of manipulate this whole cryptocurrency market. So that is one of the myths that Bitcoin fanatics will say, yeah, we are anti-fragile, we cannot be overtaken by the government or whatever. But it shows that with whatever financial things you may be interested in, a small group of people with a lot of leverage, I use leverage as in the actual the literal term leverage, they can manipulate a big chunk of the market, and that's scary, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, it can be manipulated, but not as bad as how the current market is, because you still can't print more Bitcoin more than you want to. Like, you can't just print as much as you want. But still, if you're mining, you are still printing Bitcoin, right? So if anybody can do this, it will be large mining pools like F2 Pool, who people think are like a big conglomerate, even though they claim to be smallest people who are mining,
Okay, and so what is the risk then of like other mining pools doing the same? Or what's going to stop them from this shorting this kind of stuff?
Well, you run out of Bitcoin. That's one thing. Once you're out of Bitcoin, then you got to wait to mine some more, and while that happens, the price is probably going to go up some more. So. Okay. I think as long as the big institutional buyers don't dump all of their Bitcoin, which I don't think will be just yet, what I believe will happen is that when Bitcoin gets to a price where it's obviously completely, hugely, mostly speculation, at that price, the prices will be too high, and the institutional buyers will be tempted to just dump all of their Bitcoin, and then that's when we'll enter the next bear phase. But as for miners dumping, they can suppress it. Maybe 30% correction, but eventually people will start buying up the Bitcoin again, and then they're out of Bitcoin. They can't sell anymore, and they can't suppress the price anymore.
That's very interesting. And you think that, with people buying up the Bitcoin so fast, it will hamper future efforts of miners shorting it, or you think this may go on? I mean, this will continue again in the future, one way or another.
People want to make money, whether it's miners or whoever, right? So as long as it's profitable for them to do it, they will do it. The thing is, I believe, in my humble opinion, because it takes time for you to mine, therefore their ability to do it frequently is not there. They need to take time to mine that amount of Bitcoin, and then only they can dump it.
I see.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things I find about Bitcoin, which I'm just starting to realize now, is that how okay, a lot of money is being deposited. A lot of Bitcoins have moved from cold storage, which is long-term storage, into exchanges where they are getting ready to sell the Bitcoin. And you know how you can detect that, it's probably F2 pool that shorted their Bitcoin. All this can be found via on-chain analytics, or on-chain, the blockchain forensics as we call it. And I think this is one of the it showcases one of the great things about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, that everything is on the blockchain and everything can be audited and everything can be seen. So it's interesting to me how people can make a few educated guesses and then they go, 1,000 Bitcoin is about to be sold because they've moved from this wallet to that wallet. And I think that's so amazing, because I don't think you can have this kind of transparency in other financial markets, like in the money markets as we call it. I don't think you can know when the big company is going to sell a particular type of stock, because you just press a button and the stock goes off.
You're right. In fact, there are Twitter handles that track it, whale watchers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you'll see big transfers going into Binance or out of Binance, and that can kind of give you a clue as what's going to happen with the market.
Yeah, and also like there's this Twitter handle I follow. It's called CryptoQuant.
Okay.
CryptoQuant, yeah, and this guy, I mean, you can actually purchase his services to give you like on-chain action. They call it actionable on-chain analytics, and I think that's so. To me, that's fantastic, because like you're literally seeing. If you can see everything, can't you sort of protect yourself against crashes and stuff like that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think this it's super interesting. Okay, so what are there are a lot of other news also kind of made Bitcoin pull back, like they're saying that Janet Yellen was saying that Bitcoin cryptocurrencies are not that great because it's used in illicit transactions, and I can't believe I'm quoting Janet Yellen. I can't believe I have the balls to quote Janet Yellen. Yeah, but what do you think? What do you think of that statement?
I think this is something that is not new. It's been said from day one.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's like, can we hear another criticism, please? I've heard this one already.
Yeah, and I love the rebuttal that comes. The natural rebuttal is yes, but you know what? What has been used for almost hundreds of years for illicit stuff? Cash. Yes. Drug lords actually like cash, actually, because it's much easier to spend. So, okay. What other stuff? What else was in the news? Okay, so I just want to ask you really quickly before I move on to the main topic. So Ethereum also crashed, and I've been following Ethereum a lot ever since we started this bull run, and I bought some Ethereum, and they say that it's great and whatever, and then it's being upgraded, it's being used very widely in DeFi. So what are your thoughts on Ethereum? Because Ethereum also crashed, and if I know the Ethereum pattern, it's going to take a while longer to get back up to 2K US dollars per Ethereum coin. So what's your thoughts on Ethereum?
So this is the thing about Ethereum, is that a lot of Ethereum is also being bought up by institutional buyers. And just like Bitcoin, a lot of Ethereum on exchanges that are being held are actually being emptied into cold wallets. So the price of Ethereum does seem very undervalued. If you look at the all-time high of Bitcoin, it was 20,000. Now it was like 50,000. So Ethereum, that's about 2.5 from what its previous all-time high. Whereas Ethereum's previous all-time high was 1,003. It hasn't even got to 2006 yet. So it hasn't doubled from its previous all-time high. So there's ideas that it's also being suppressed. Also, F2 pool is probably suppressing the price of Ethereum. And with the Ethereum staking for F2.0, you need to have 32 Ethereum to stake for F2.0. That's taking more Ethereum. I think it's about like 5 billion that's already being staked right now. So there's no like logical reason that a lot of people who are doing analysis on it, myself also, to realize why the price of Ethereum is actually this price. It should be a lot higher. But as for it crashing, it's probably just because Bitcoin crashed. When Bitcoin crash, everything
I see.
crashes, in its wake.
Okay, I see. Interesting.
So yeah, Ethereum, I think it's still going. It's what the institutions are buying. So if you're buying what the institutions are buying, I I think that's probably the way to go. Though I'm not a financial advisor.
Okay. By the way, I just want to remind everyone watching. Thank you so much for watching, and we know you're in the comment section, so please feel free to say hi, whatever. I'll try and acknowledge you guys and answer your questions. Shaz and I will take questions at the end of this episode. All episodes we go live, we will take questions. Okay. It's very nice to chat with you guys. You guys ask sometimes really tough questions. Okay. So now we're going to go to the meat of the podcast. The reason why I want to talk to Shaz today is because whenever there's a crash and people I talk to about Bitcoin, they will go to like apocalyptic mood. Like the world is going to end, and what should I do now? Whatever. And then people who are normally very vocal on Twitter or Facebook will suddenly go silent. And then even in the Facebook groups, they'll be like, instead of all the smug posts, you'll be like, oh, it's going to crash now. And then some people say, don't sell, just keep it. So as if that will stem the tide. And you and I, we've been through two crashes. I started Bitcoin in 2016, and then there was a major crash from 20,000 to 6,000. That was insane. And then during the pandemic, it crashed from how much? 15 to 3. What was it? What was the... It crashed to 3 something.
It crashed to 6, and then 6 it crashed to 3.
From what?
So I mean, from 20,000 it crashed to about 6, and then from 6 it crashed down to 3, and then 3 it went back up again from there. So 3,000 was about the bottom. I wouldn't really consider this a crash actually. This is just a deep pullback. Like a crash is basically the market changes after that, whereas this still looks like it's still going to head upwards. Even in the previous two cycles, right, in 2017 and 2013, there were big retracements of 30%, and then it went up again, like 4 or 5 times. So this might not be the last time. We might get to like 80K, crash back down to 50, oh, doom and gloom, and then go back up again, So that's what happened in the previous cycle. I don't see why it wouldn't happen again.
Right, okay. And also like when what goes through your... Okay, I know for a lot of people when the crash happens, they go panic, okay, and then they sell. Okay, what goes through your mind when these things happen? And what's your like thought process?
For me, when the Bitcoin price keeps going higher and higher, I am waiting for the pullback. I'm like, this is definitely going to pull back. I just don't know how deep. So I think maybe that's the difference of mentality. For me, whereas when you see the price going up, it used to be, well, for me at least, I want to chase the price. Whereas for me, I'm like, no, I want to wait for it to pull back, and then only I will enter. So when it starts to go really high, I'm waiting for the pullback, because you can't tell how charts are going to move. But there's one thing that always happens, which is it goes up and then it comes down, or it goes down and then it goes up. It's one way or another, right? Whether it's a little bit or a lot, you don't know, but it definitely does that. It never moves in a straight line.
So you're not giving financial advice, but this is life advice, okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Right? When it goes up, it will go down. When it goes down, it goes up, right? Wow.
Yes.
Tell that to the
game. You just don't know by how much. You just don't know by how much.
Tell that to the GameStop guys, man.
Well, it came down, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
No, as in, the people who bought GameStop wanted to go up forever.
Oh, right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but man, there was a lot of money to be made in the GameStop, man. Okay, now, for me, whenever this kind of thing happens, right, I just like, I just go like, okay, even if I lose all my money, it's really not that much. I'm not like a massive
How
whale.
loaded is Jason Leong?
No,
lah?
no, 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 no. Because it's not like how to say. I think some people make the mistake of depending on cryptocurrency
Right.
investments, and I think
Right.
that's unless you are a full-time trader, investor, whatever. It's. I think that's really unwise. Although
Right.
yes, of course, if I lose all my money, that will hurt. But I'm not going to starve just because I lose all my.
Right.
And I think the problem with whenever this kind of major pullbacks happen or whatever is like I said, people want to time the market.
Right.
I've heard so many friends when it's going down, they sell, then they buy back above. Like I don't get it.
Right.
So I think after being through two major crashes, like my heart has become numb.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that in the comments on
Yeah.
the Facebook page as well, right?
Yeah, just my heart is numb already. Okay. So if you were to give not financial advice, but if you were to
Right.
give advice on how someone might ride the wave or
Right.
or survive the tsunami, what would you say?
Okay, not financial advice, obviously, but wait for the pullback because there will be a pullback. You just don't know how deep it's going to be.
I mean, it means when it's going up, just be aware of the pullback, right? Okay.
Yes, exactly. So when it's going up, wait for the pullback to come. You don't know how deep the pullback is going to be. Don't chase the price. Dollar cost average in on the pullback. Okay, and yeah. So and then after that, just like ride the wave. So in theory, if we believe in market cycles, a bull market tends to last about 10 months to 12 months. So as long as you're not like in on like this 8th month or 8th month and above, it should be in theory based on previous behavior safer. Yes.
Right. and it's very interesting when you say market cycles, right? And I feel that as a newbie into this whole thing, when you say market cycles, what you're really saying is the aggregate of all human behavior when it comes to interest in anything. Am I half right, near right?
Yeah, I think the thing is every market has market cycles, but for cryptocurrency, it seems to be a little bit more predictable because of the Bitcoin halving. So because everything follows Bitcoin and Bitcoin has a halving, so the entire crypto market tends to follow the Bitcoin halving. So yeah, so 6 months after the halving, the shortage of Bitcoin will be felt in the market, and then that will cause the price to start to go up, and that usually spurns the next bull market. Then it gets over speculated, it crashes, and then so one year up, 1 year down, 2 years sideways, and then start again because of the halving.
Right.
So that has been the previous behavior of Bitcoin.
That's a very succinct observation, of the cycles, and I guess as we say, we spend more time in the market. It's knowledge and experience. And I remember someone tweeting this. He said that for every one day Bitcoin exists, the network gets stronger. More people are in it. And it becomes sturdier and more proven. And I think that's another interesting thing about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Like there's a time factor where the longer it's there, it's kind of is in the advantage of the thing. Like Bitcoin is, the longer Bitcoin is there, it's more strong. It becomes stronger.
Exactly.
And of course, to everyone watching, what Shaz has mentioned is not financial advice. It's basically a very good summary on observation of the past few cycles. And just for you all to know, a halving is when the supply of Bitcoins is halved roughly every 4 years. It's built into the network. It's built into the algorithm, so it cannot be changed. That's another great thing about Bitcoin. It cannot be changed. It's immutable. And the interesting thing is the last Bitcoin, the absolute last Bitcoin, will take many years to be mined, right? The last one Bitcoin will take a few years to be. The last one will be finished mined in the year 2140.
Yes.
And there will only be 21 million Bitcoins ever produced, ever. And actually, the actual supply is less because a good portion has been lost in the early days of Bitcoin. Some wallets have been in the dump sites, lost in fires or whatever. So unlikely that there'll be. So actually, the actual amount of bitcoins left is even lower than 21 million. So that's another great thing, another interesting thing about Bitcoin. How severe you think the supply shortage of Bitcoin is now, seeing that some whales have bought it? You know, Michael Saylor has raised another 1 fucking billion to take Bitcoins off the circulation. You know, like, are we in a supply crunch?
Right now it's price discovery. So we're going to see how many more institutions are going to get in. I think we haven't got to the speculative phase yet, but most likely we will get there sometime in the next 6 months. And then it will be overpriced, you know. So I think right now it's still in the price discovery phase, because we don't know what's the price of Bitcoin when the block reward is. Right now, every 10 minutes Bitcoin is created, 6.25 Bitcoin is added into circulation. So we don't know what's the price of Bitcoin, or what's the lowest price of Bitcoin at 6.25 just yet. So we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Right. And when you mentioned a very interesting phrase, speculative phrase, what exactly is that, and how do we know we're in a speculative phase?
We won't know. We will get to a point where it will dump, and then if it's like the previous cycle, it will dump, it will recover, not get to what it was, and then just keep dumping after that. So that's when you know. By the time you know, it's lost a significant amount of its value from the all-time high. So it's always advisable for you to take profits along the way. Take profits on the way up, and then on the way down. So yeah, we won't know what is the price, but of course there are predictions: 250,000, 320,000, but who knows, right?
All right, that's a very good summary. By the way, to everyone who are watching, please leave your questions. Shaz and I will try and take as many as we can, along the way. You got any interesting comments, just comment away. We'll acknowledge the interesting ones. Actually, my cousin here has a good question here. Next session, can we talk about other coins? Okay, so, and I mentioned that I want to ask you about some of your thoughts on whatever altcoins you think are interesting right now, because I'm a mainstream guy. I only know about Bitcoin and Ethereum, KFC, McDonald's. That's it. There's no need for any weird Auntie Mama's chicken, whatever. I know KFC is good. It never fails me. So what altcoins? Okay, I know you read a lot about altcoins. What altcoins interest you?
Okay, well, if you're looking at like altcoin news, I guess right now everybody's talking about Binance Smart Chain. It's a BNB coin. I think it's number 3 on the coin market cap right now, and it's because some DeFi projects, it's very expensive to run on Ethereum because of the gas fees. Okay. So to run a contract on Ethereum, you need to pay gas fees, and because the Ethereum network is congested, and also because mainly because the Ethereum network is congested. They're moving over to the Binance Smart Chain, and Binance, I mean, they've been smart about how they've handled their coin, how they've marketed it, how they can actually wrap other coins in Binance. So that basically means that instead of, how Ethereum has tokens, ERC tokens on it, ERC20 tokens. So now you can do that on Binance as well. So it used to be, I think when Binance first launched, they were an ERC20 token, which means that they ran on Ethereum. But now, because the Ethereum network fees is so expensive, people are wrapping Ethereum on the Binance chain. So now it's like switched over because Binance is a lot cheaper. And some of their DeFi projects, like I think PancakeSwap is doing pretty well. I think it spiked. I can't remember how much the spike was, but it was a lot. Kind of wish I bought some. And I think BNB for me was probably the most surprising coin of this bull market, because I knew it was a good project and good coin, but I didn't realize it was number 3 in the market cap, kind of good. So yeah. And I think the other news is that Crypto.com, they announced a token burn of 70 billion tokens, which is apparently the biggest token burn. I don't know. I haven't fact checked that.
What is what is a token burn?
Okay, so let's say you've got about 1 billion tokens, right? So now you've programmed it so that instead of a billion tokens, now if you let's say you token burn 90%, now you have a 90% would be like what 10 million, yeah, 100 billion, yeah, 10%, 100 million, right? So you 90% of whatever the tokens was supposed to be is doesn't exist anymore. So it's been removed from the code. So a lot of coins they do this whenever you transact, a certain amount will be burned. So the circulating supply gets smaller and smaller. So the idea is if the circulating supply gets smaller and smaller, the price of the coin will go higher and higher. It's like a reverse Bitcoin. Bitcoin basically means that the supply gets less and less, whereas for this one is the supply is big, but it starts to shrink. So that is what a feature of some coins they have where they start to burn tokens. But this was a on purpose token burn, and I think it caused the price of their coin to jump from like 6 cents to like 20 something cents.
Okay, and why did they burn this? What incentivizes them to burn their tokens? They just want their price to go up?
Yeah, I think it's because crypto.com, it's a very valuable name, right? That URL. They're trying to compete with Binance. They've got a whole bunch of other products, and I think they don't know how to sort of structure their native token. So they had two native tokens, then they became one, and then they changed some stuff with it. The coin price dropped. So I think this is their attempt to sort of create interest back in their coin again. But that was, if you look at the candlestick, it's just like a big green stick, just like one stick like that.
You know, Shaz, like whenever I try to convince people to dip their toes into cryptocurrency, and then if the uncles and aunties come across a story where, oh, this particular cryptocurrency, they burn 90% of their tokens, like, well, then I'll be like, yeah, and then it's I have a feeling that this new world is so complex. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people who will just never get it, lah, and I don't blame them, lah. I'm with you now. I don't blame them. Like, if they can do this kind of stuff, like you can take one currency, swap it another currency, wrap it around another currency to transact. I mean, that is even too much, even for me, and I'm quite adventurous in that way.
Even I don't get everything. Yeah, there are a lot of times when I'm looking at this and what is this? And then I gotta like read it, and then it gets too technical. Then I'm like, I give up. I don't know what this is.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was he's a banker, many years, 10 years in a particular bank, one of the most popular banks in Malaysia. And then he was like saying like, I can't believe that a new revolutionary form of money has been invented by a bunch of IT wankers. You know what I mean? Like, they just come around and tinker, and oh, look, this new market worth billions, right? And it galls him. And also another big thing which in the crypto sphere, like again, Square, which I believe is a subsidiary of Twitter, or one of the companies that Jack Dorsey owns. They spent like I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars to buy more bitcoins. What are your thoughts on this kind of big news, these implications?
Well, I think there's growing acceptance that if you're into tech and you've got, because Square is a payment gateway, I believe. Yeah. So most new age tech companies will start to feel like they need to own a little bit of crypto. So I think this Jack Dorsey has always been pro Bitcoin. I think at some point, I could be mistaken, but I believe that he said at some point on Twitter that he actually puts aside $10,000 a month every month to buy Bitcoin. Or is it $10,000?
Yeah, I do that too.
Oh yeah,
me course. Too. Yeah,
this is Jason Leong, of course.
Just dollar cost average $10,000 US. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Nothing.
What's that, man?
What's that, man? Jesus. I think it's a relatively underrated piece of news. But when the CEO of Twitter kind of endorses, likes, promotes, and buys Bitcoin, that's a big indicator, man. I think that's just it's one of those, like, it's a matter of time moments where, like, it's just a matter of time. Okay, so we've accumulated a lot of questions. I'm very interested for Shaz and myself to have a look. Let's see. We're gonna start from okay. So the first question actually It's a very interesting question, a big question from my cousin. Is BTC too expensive already? Because I can only afford he can afford one Satoshi, which is ridiculous.
Right.
So is Bitcoin too expensive, Shaz? you wanna take an hour to explain?
I think you can answer this question, bro.
Well, okay, so to answer the question, is Bitcoin too expensive already? Like I of course, many friends have asked this. Yes, and the short answer is no, because if you look at all even the most conservative projections to the more ludicrous ones, it's like, even in our last episode, I said 70,000, Shah said 100,000. So if you look at that point of view, it's not too expensive. And I think when people ask the question, is it too expensive, the real question they're asking is it too late? Am I late to the party? And when they see all the tens of X of gains, it's easy for them to think, oh, the boat has sailed. But actually, it's not too late. And I firmly believe it's not too late, because imagine those people who, when it's all a matter of a bit of luck of when you stumble upon this Bitcoin. I stumbled upon it, guys, when I first heard of it when it reached $1,000. Okay, and then I started buying at 3,000 and then all the way up to 10,000. So my average price was like 6,000, right? But even then, I thought, oh no, I might be late to the party. But it turns out I wasn't. And then if you go back in time, there were people who bought at 1,000 thinking that's the end of the road. It's only the beginning. And there are people who bought it at 500 and they thought that's the end of the road. But it's only the beginning, right? So
Yep.
I think we have quite a longer time horizon ahead. Even remember Shaz, when I was texting Shaz in the days of 2017 when it reached 15,000, 16,000, 17,000, and I remember texting Shaz, please hold me, because I was legit scared. Like, what is happening? Like,
Right.
and you think that 20,000 was the zenith, was the peak. It was like, yes, this is the mountain we have climbed. But no, it's just the beginning. So that's the short answer. The answer is no, it's not too expensive. The more reasonable answer is, whatever it is, just invest whatever you're comfortable with. And like I said to my friend, just dollar cost average. I believe one of our friends, Aaron Tang from Luno, he has tweeted this before. I said, I'm just going to dollar cost average. I'm going to buy Bitcoin today. I'm going to buy Bitcoin tomorrow. I'm going to buy Bitcoin next month. Just dollar cost averaging, I think, is it's a very underrated thing to do. When I first had when I first earned money, I was like, dollar cost average, what nonsense. I'm gonna invest in one stock and make millions. But when you go through crashes, when you lose money and then you gain some money, then you regret not buying at the dip, you regret selling it, whatever. So I think DCA is a very reasonable thing to do, which is what I tell all my friends. Okay, next.
I think there's an app for that, actually. There's an app where you can buy, and it will just, once you connect it to your debit card or account, it will just buy like $10 every day, something like that.
Free plug. What's the name of the app? Sorry, what's the name of it?
Okay, let me look it up, right?
Okay, while you look it up, one of our friends one of my friends, Lukesh, who worked on a project with me at Blockchain Technology Malaysia, he says that after altcoins have dropped a significant amount, we should have seen a more convincing bull volume and bounces with stronger stock RCI indication that we are continuing higher. He says that he doesn't buy this bounce. If you are trading it, just trade carefully and take profits when you can immediately. Thank you, Lukesh. That's quite a reasonable take. Let's see. From Brian J. Chong, how often do you reshuffle your portfolios?
Okay, first, the name of the app is Swan Bitcoin.
Swan Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So this app helps you DCA.
Yes, that's what it does. The last I checked, you can buy like a certain amount. You can set an amount, and it'll just buy every day.
Right.
I'm not sure what the transaction fees is like. I've never used it, but that's what it does.
Okay.
And reshuffle your portfolio, meaning you buy new coins, add new coins, or sell and change. I guess it really depends on the market, but I wouldn't shuffle too much. There's a point where I feel like, okay, we're not yet in the bull market. You buy like about 10 or 20 altcoins, and then you just hodl until the bull market is mostly over, and then you get out. So that's my altcoin strategy. Yes,
Right.
spray and pray. So you have like 20 coins, just shoot all 20, and then I just hold it. Yeah.
Right. Well, for me, I didn't change much since I stopped buying in 2017. I just held all the way. And only recently when I started reading about Ethereum and I thought, wow, DeFi, because only recently the phrase DeFi became a thing. And when you read about DeFi, you cannot escape Ethereum. So I read the news a lot. I'm on Twitter constantly and all the news constantly. So when I saw that Ethereum was on everyone's mouths and everyone's tweets and everyone's pages, I bought some Ethereum. I think my average price was 1,001 because I 1,000 something. Because I bought at 600, I bought at 900, I bought at 1,002. So 1,000, yeah, around that. So I bought a chunk of Ethereum, and that's the most recent major thing I did. So to answer the question, how often do you reshuffle your portfolios? Me, not very often. I'm not very adventurous actually when it comes to. Although if you think about it, people buying Bitcoin is really very adventurous, but in cryptocurrency, I'm not very adventurous. Samuel, wow, interesting name. Is there any recommended forums you would suggest for such crypto discussion and news?
Reddit is pretty good. That's probably our Reddit. Our a whole bunch, whatever coin you're interested, that's probably where you want to check. Obviously, Twitter.
Reddit, huh?
Yeah, Reddit.
Okay.
Twitter, obviously, and I guess Cryptocurrency Malaysia, maybe. Plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a whole bunch of places where you can find information about YouTube. Lots of information there. Yeah.
For Samuel, I would say that if you want to learn about a particular aspect of cryptocurrency, like what is blockchain or what is mining or what is 51% attack, whatever specific stuff, YouTube is great because you got a lot of insane amount of YouTubers who are also crypto crazy, and then you can you can go down the rabbit hole on YouTube very easily. Right?
Yeah.
You can start on one thing and then you realize you want to learn some more, and you can spend hours just finding out what is the Byzantine general's problem. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the level.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is how insane it can get. But knowledge, YouTube. When it comes to like news, for me it's Twitter. Twitter is the fastest when it comes to news because what I do is I just when I search, I just type Bitcoin, I search, and I get all the top tweets about Bitcoin, and then I find some people that I like Michael Saylor, so I followed him. I follow the top, like the Crypto Quant guy, because he gives a lot of interesting information. So I follow all these people, and I read every day because they are the first to tweet interesting piece of news. So Twitter is very important. I've not been on Reddit, but I would love to try. And yeah, Facebook, cryptocurrency, whatever, that is a very good source of information. But at the end of the day, it's important to DYOR. You got to do your own research.
Yes.
Okay, so don't just depend on other people's recommendations. Okay, because I feel like we're still in a wild west, so it's very hard to take anybody's advice seriously. Okay, I mean the only thing I feel comfortable advising is like what I said before, just DCA what you can afford, and that's it. And that's it. Right.
In fact, the more sure you see somebody, it's definitely going to be this way. This is how it is. That's when you need to be careful. Somebody acts too sure.
Like Samuel, just most recently, there was shortly after the GameStop, the short squeeze, and people just pumped GameStop. Then there were similar attempts to pump up XRP, was it? XRP, yes. There was
DOJO, XRP, yeah.
There was a similar attempt to pump up XRP, and that resulted in a painful crash. So these kind of things, after a while, you can see the pattern. Like, okay, this is just bullshit. Okay, and to be fair, there's a lot of bullshit in the crypto world. Okay, so please, you gotta do lots of your own research. Okay, let's see. This is an interesting question by James Ng. Can Bitcoin be hacked?
Can Bitcoin be hacked? No, but you can be hacked. So that's how the weakness is. So Bitcoin as itself, no, it cannot be hacked because it's decentralized. Where are you going to hack? there's no one place for you to attack because it's everywhere, right? So because to hack something, you need to attack one point. Unless you attack 51% of the network at the same time, and then you gotta hack 51% of the network, which is all over the place at the same time within 10 minutes. Because after 10 minutes, a block gets added, and then you gotta hack again. So the amount of effort that would take to hack Bitcoin is just too much. It's to a point where it's
Not
doesn't
worth
make any
it.
sense anymore.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
It's better you just buy the Bitcoin. So
Yeah. So I love answering this question because it demonstrates the beauty of Bitcoin. I mean, I've had friends ask me straight up, can Bitcoin be hacked? And they think, of course, it can be hacked. Actually, so the actual blockchain itself cannot be hacked. The simplicity and elegance of the construction is such that it cannot be hacked. But when you put your money, when you put your Bitcoins on an exchange, the exchange can be hacked. Your wallet can be hacked, and even don't forget that the old brutal ways of stealing also happens. Like in Hong Kong, this guy took his wallet, the Bitcoin wallet, sold it to a guy, transacted it to a guy, and he received cash. Okay?
Right.
Okay? And when he received cash, the seller contrived with another group of guys to rob the guy of the cash.
Right.
So now essentially he has robbed him of the Bitcoin and the cash via old school methods.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
In that regard, it's not infallible. But man, the blockchain itself, once you begin to understand it, is beautiful, man. It cannot be hacked.
Yep.
But then it can be wrong. I don't know. I don't see how it can, based on what I understand. But it'd be interesting to see what happens if someone tries. I think people have tried, and they
Of course.
they can't. My young brother, who by the way has his own cryptocurrency portfolio, what would you advise newbies who wants to add crypto into their financial portfolio? Shaz, he's not asking for advice. He's asking you to tell him what he will tell people who wants to add cryptocurrency in their portfolio, because he has a basket of coins.
Okay. Well, yeah. Add some if you're new. Dip your toes in the water, so to speak. Don't jump into the pool. Add a little bit, and then when you have a little bit of Bitcoin or Ethereum, you'll slowly start to learn about the market, and then from there, you'll start to feel a bit more, knowledgeable and feel a bit more confident about it, and then from there you can decide. But
for
add
me,
a little bit.
For me, the most interesting thing about Bitcoin/cryptocurrency is that it is the one thing that when I invested in it, it made me learn all the other basic financial advice, basic financial knowledge. What's a bubble, what's money printing, and what's money policy, and this kind of cryptocurrency has a way of making you learn more than just the thing. And
fractional reserve banking.
Oh man.
Yeah, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah. So is what is the gold standard? What is fiat, man? So if you want to add Bitcoin to the portfolio, yes, but also take advantage of how it can teach you other things. It's just amazing. It can even teach you some stuff about IT. There's some stuff about IT I didn't know. I had to know until I realized, okay, this makes sense, So be ready for a very interesting ride. And most people who are, in the crypto world are very friendly, and they like to give advice, very welcoming to newbies. But you'll get one or two smart assholes, okay? Just live with them, okay?
Yes.
Gary Chang comments on the US digital currency.
The US digital currency.
I wonder whether he means the
yuan. Is it the digital yuan?
I think he means if US is going to come up with their own currency coin, or I don't know what he means about Tether. I think he means the nations having their own cryptocurrency. You know what I mean? Like the digital yuan. Yes.
Yeah. I think that probably will happen. I don't know how it will roll out. I cannot imagine a government would want to make it easy for you to buy cryptocurrency, because that's a very good way for you to avoid tax. So I think that maybe there might be something that the government will roll out, but I don't know how it will look like, how easy it'll be to buy, whether you can exchange it for other digital currencies.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know.
The
Yeah.
but the China seems to be very serious about their digital, right? The digital currency, right? Like the digital yuan, like they're doing major stuff with it. Do you know? You think it's because with the digital yuan, everything becomes electronic, and then they can sort of prevent corruption and money laundering, that kind of stuff.
It could be, to be honest, I haven't really done a lot of research on the Chinese digital yuan. I
Okay.
saw a couple of posts on it, but I don't know how is it that they're planning to roll out. Um, but even certain companies like Libra, like Facebook's coin Libra, right?
Mm.
They were facing problems trying to roll out their coin because governments were saying that they are now going to become a bank. So now Libra has to tie their crypto to that country. So it's got to be like Libra USD or Libra Yen, or maybe if in Malaysia it will be Libra Ringgit. So I think it's going to be complicated. There's going to be a lot of. Uh, I don't think governments want to make it as so easy for you to do it. So I don't know. Even Libra's having a lot of problems, and they're not really a government, you know.
Mm. Victor Law has an interesting question. Which exchange to invest in without losing a lot of fees here and there?
Oh wow.
This is not an
Without
endorsement.
losing a lot of I don't know. In terms of, like, I haven't done like a study on all the exchanges fees. But
We
I
should
can
do
just
that for the
tell
next
you,
episode. We should for a future episode. We just do a comparison of the fees and all that stuff. Ah.
yeah. So this is the thing though, right? Fees is one aspect of it. Then the next aspect that you need to look at is the price of the cryptocurrencies there. So if the fees is cheap, but the price of Bitcoin is expensive, in the end, you're probably paying more. If the fees is slightly higher, but the price of Bitcoin is cheap, then you're still paying less. So I think there's other factors that you need to look at,
Yeah.
not just whatever the fees of the exchange
Yeah.
is.
So for to answer the question, so yeah, fees is just one aspect because just today, I realized, to my delight slash horror, that
Mhm.
on Luno there is a premium price on Bitcoin and Ethereum compared to say Binance, because like
Right.
at certain points of the day you could literally buy one, like you could buy Bitcoin from Binance, transfer to Luno, and then sell it at a 10,000 ringgit premium.
Yeah,
And
that's
this is
called
arbitrage.
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 Yeah.
Okay, so it's arbitrage. I've never done it before. I just happened to notice. I didn't dare to do
Right.
it. So
Right.
it also depends on you gotta make sure you know that whether or not something that you're buying or selling is at a premium. Then the fees may not matter. If you're making 10,000 ringgit on one sale, it doesn't matter if you're paying 50 ringgit or 25 ringgit. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, what Shah says is absolutely right. Is fees is one thing, but the the price you're paying for the thing also matters a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're a newbie, I think Luno is a pretty good bet because I
Yeah.
think it's safe. It's approved by SEC and monetary authority in Singapore. And what do you call it? Recently they have Shaz. They do their FPX. They have allowed FPX in Luno. So when you transfer ringgit into the wallet to buy Bitcoin, it's instant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
within seconds. So that's pretty good. So
Right.
for newbies, Luno is pretty safe, straightforward. You don't have to think too much about it, But there are other things you can try as you become more comfortable buying Bitcoin. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see if there are any other questions. Yep, the rest is just giving the referral fee. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. So once again, leave your questions. I can come back and answer them, and I have a lot of plans for this podcast. Because the crypto world is so fertile, a lot of news, a lot of new ideas, and it's surprising. A lot of people in Malaysia are very interesting to talk to when it comes to cryptocurrency. So stay tuned for more updates as we take this and our Bitcoins and cryptocurrency to the moon. Okay, thank you, Shaz. Thanks for joining me.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Next episode, bro, we talk about other stuff.
Next episode.
Yeah, baby.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. We stop this. Wait, how do I stop this?
Ah.
Okay, I'll just say stop. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.